Yeah, finish my screen.
The screen is starting up, but not yet seen it.
Listen now.
Okay, no. Can you start the process? Okay, yeah. It's up now. It's up.
Alright.
It's supposed to design layout. Okay, can go on slideshow, please. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. My name is Lawal Sofiyat, a graphic designer. So my topic for this morning is principles of design layout. Can you hear me?
Clearly.
Yeah. So what I'll be discussing is introduction to principles of design layout, balance, hierarchy, contrast, proximity, alignment, and repetition. So what is principles of design layout? When you check around us, you see that there's different kind of designs that we can see around us. Then we have to accept these questions. How do you plan the best way to deliver content to them? How do you make it easy for the user to navigate and find important information? How do you make sure that the information they receive from you is easy to digest? These are the questions you ask yourself before you start designing. So, what's now principles of design? Principles of design are the set of rules that designers can follow when creating a layout to create visual pleasing work. So there are some types of principles of design layout that structure your design layout. So the first one is the balance. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can.
So balance is just like managing your layout, how you want your layout to look like, the ratio, the way you want to divide your layout in form of maybe is it the image and the text, or how you want to divide it. Yeah, that's how the balance is how elements with the layout are arranged, either symmetrically, asymmetrically, or radially to create the impression of equality in weight or importance. So the examples there is the asymmetry is divided into two parts on the layout. So before you start your design, you have to share your page into two if you want to use for symmetrical balance. But if it's asymmetrical balance, one will be more than the other. So it will not be the same, just like symmetrical balance. But for the radial balance, it starts from the center. So that's how the radial balance, you want to divide your this thing to start from the center before you start designing your page. So the next one is the hierarchy. Hierarchy does like what do you want your height to first see? Your main target. Then virtual hierarchies are about organizing the value of elements within your design by ranking information from most important to the least important. So what do you want your audience to first sight before they go through the other this thing? So the first one is just like checking your design, the headline will be bigger than the others. So you check all those aspects. And you can also use your contrast, your color, your size, element, typography to do those hierarchy stuff. So for this example here, the hierarchy here is very good because of that. The first thing our eyes can see. So the next one is you will first. The next one is the first one here is what you are first see here. Then the next one is the second right up here. So it's just in order. The one you would want your height to first see, the one you want your order to first sight. That's the meaning of hierarchy in order. So contrast is just like referring to the level of difference between designs elements in order to create visual hierarchy. This example here is like when you want to use your you can use shape for contrast, you can use color for contrast, just like using color, maybe green and black, you check the contrast between them. Or is it if I use green and white, will it be clearer? Will I be able to see it enough? Is the contrast there? So you check that, you ask yourself that, and contrast can create a focal point to certain elements that can draw your viewer eyes. So contrast is important, especially when designing accessible documents. For instance, black type on white background will be easier to read than black on brown background. So that's all things, all those things you need to consider before designing your, before you design. So the proximity is just like grouping. You group the one that is supposed to be like the one of eye corner, you put them in one side. Then the one of image, you put them in one side. Shape, you put them in one side. So proximity just like then the show relevance between elements by constraints and bringing what is related to each other. Just like what I said, icons will be where icon is. Just like this one now, this example is giving us that this one are in group. So this one another one, another aspect. The next one is just another one because it's that they are in group. So you group them, the one of text, you group them. So that's how it goes. And you can also use color, font type, size to do your grouping. You want to group them. So I should not be just jam pack. You know, like what's this? What's this? Just like putting icon location icon here and putting another one somewhere here. It will not be orderly. Just check where do you want mine. Is it this side? Put them there. If it's this side, put them there. If it's in the middle, let's just know that okay, this is what this is. This is what this is. So the next one is alignment. Alignment is the arrangement of elements on page that keep them from being complete disorder. Just like the examples of alignment, we have the left aligned, we have the center aligned, we have the right aligned. So the left aligned is just like when you want to design your layout, just try to put them on the left side, or you try to put them on center. Use center. So you can also use grid to do your alignment for proper alignment. You can use your ruler on your Photoshop or corrector. You can use them to place it so that you know, okay, this one is in line, this one is in left line, this one is in center line. So it will not be one will be falling apart. So we try to get all those directions. Then the repetition here is just like repeating a single element through design, using repeated elements on a layout or being pleasing to your viewers. Just like using one font for all your designs, using one shape for all your designs, using one color for all your designs. That's what repetition is talking about. So this example here, just like this shape all through, just like I'll pick this color all through. So that's the meaning of repetition. You can use one font for all your designs. It's just that you know how you manipulate them. You can use the tiny, the regular, but it's only one font they are using for your design. So yeah, I think this is where I'll end. Thank you for listening. Any questions?
Okay, thank you very much for that precise presentation. So does anyone have questions to ask either of the presenters? Oh. Okay. For the sake of time, so Sophia, Deborah, do you have any question to ask our audience.
Okay, I have one question. From what I've explained so far, can someone just tell me what he or she understands about principles of design? That's the only question now.
All right, thank you, Sophia. So based on what everything you explained, I think what I was able to catch up and understand very well is that one of the principle of designs involves alignments, how we align our text, how we align maybe the pictures we are trying to bring to the design. Then you also mentioned the spacing, like what is the relationship between a particular object on the design and other object on the design. So it tests how do we try to put it, so the arrangement, so the spacing and some other things. Then you mentioned repetition, how we can make use of principles of using the same word several times. Sometimes we see some design that you see several words at the background and it just looks so pleasing to the viewers. Then you also mentioned about the coloring. So like, do you feel like, okay, if you should make this particular color for the background, what you're trying to, maybe the call to action that you want people to actually click on, or the information you're trying to pass through your design, so that people can like all those things are very important. The I think the end goal of everything is you just want whoever is using the design to have the best user experience, and for them to for them to follow what that design want them to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Nice,
you so much.
nice answer. Thanks.
So,
That's
do you have another question to ask anyone? Thank you very much, Nuruddin, for that wonderful answer.
I don't have the answer. If someone can just address what you just said, that just anybody else.
Okay.
If anybody can still address what I just said.
Well, I just have something to add to what he said. It's very short, though, because he has said a lot.
Yeah.
And he was talking about something about spacing also mattering when doing your design layout. So I just wanted to add that that spacing he was talking about, you mentioned it as proximity, where you had to make a pattern where there are different circles, and then the circles was in a rectangular form, and there was one that was tinier. So of course, how close they are also matters. How close your patterns are or your objects are, as you rightly said.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. So Deborah, do you have any question for anyone in the next 2 minutes?
Not really, but if anyone has questions, I think